Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the Sun square or opposite Mercury in Synastry. Now, the basic character, which is the Sun, can be in conflict, with the Mercury person's communication. The Mercury person, may see the Sun person as overly, arrogant, or I should say, in a negative light. And the Mercury person may often talk about the negative characteristics of the Sun person, of him or her. I mean, if the Sun person is Aries, as an example, that Mercury person may be saying things like, that person's overly, combative, or too aggressive, abrupt, impulsive with things, angry, just the negative. There may be more of a focus on those negative qualities of the Sun individual. Now, the thing too is the Sun person may have trouble focusing on what the Mercury person says. It could be whether it's just not being in agreement with what the Mercury person communicates, or it could be with some kind of diversion or distraction, or just not paying attention to what's being said. I mean, if you have this situation, say, you know um, in a supervisor employee situation, it can be really not harmonious. To say the absolute least, it could be contentious situation. If you have, like, say, the Sun person, say, is the authority figure, and the Mercury person is the subordinate worker, it could be a situation where you have the Mercury person not wanting to communicate that much with the authority, the Sun individual, not listening, not could be acting like he or her is listening, him or hers, but not actually following up on what's being said. Some examples. The thing about it is, you have this synastry aspect as well. The Sun person, may dominate, at least try to dominate and monopolize the conversations with the Mercury individual. Um, you could have, the Sun person, may be averse, to helping, the Mercury person, matters with short journeys. Um, the Mercury person, say, needs a ride. That Sun person, may often be unavailable for him or her. And another thing too is that the Mercury person, may be, again, exceptionally, judgmental and critical regarding the Sun person's actions, and just a basic, persona. Remember, the Sun in astrology, is our basic fundamental character. It's that true self, in contrast to the ascendant or rising sign, which is the astrological mask or facade of the person. And the thing is, the Sun person, may frequently, not be there for the Mercury person in matters also with manual dexterity. If a hand is needed, so to speak, if there's some issue, say, for example, the Mercury person has some problems, with their refrigerator or automobile, and something may require, manual dexterity, the Sun person may not be there. And the Sun person, if there was a situation like, if you had the Sun person and the Mercury person were involved in, a teacher-student situation, say the Mercury person in their early education had the Sun person as a teacher, there may have been trouble. The Sun person may have had trouble, teaching that Mercury person, whether it's a communication issue, whatever it might be. So the thing about this too is, and remember, as I stated in previous videos, As far as the natal, like when I would talk about the natal chart in my earlier videos, that not to isolate any one single individual astrological aspect, placement, position, and make an analysis on it, because the person's the sum of all their components in their chart and not just one. The same would apply when you're talking about a synastry relationship chart. This aspect is obviously it's adverse, it's not good, but you can have other things in the chart which can offset it to some degree. I mean, you could have in this example the sun, somebody's sun may square or oppose one's Mercury, but let's say you have the same two people have Mercury making a sextile or trine to the other person's ascendant. Well, the Mercury person may actually often speak highly of that person's outer demeanor, even if they don't feel there's some lack of compatibility with that inner true self, which is the sun. It could be a situation where the Mercury person may actually talk positively about the ascendant person's outer demeanor, the characteristics that are projected naturally, the appearance of that ascendant person's physical body of the ascendant person, those things. So, or even if the ascendants, let's say if the ascendants are sextile or trine each other, the outer, those outer demeanors of both people, the characteristic that is easily expressed on both ends, on both people, they could be very compatible. So you can have, I mean, you have to look, at the whole, all the aspects, because when you have a synastry chart, I mean, you're going to have, a plethora of aspects, and say at least in most cases, between the sun person and the, the Mercury person. Now, the thing about this is when you look at this, Mercury is also about analysis. So the Mercury person, if they're trying to decipher, they might have trouble analyzing the sun person's basic character to some degree. If that Mercury person is trying to do, they may not quite get what sun person is actually about. Even if the Mercury person may know, basically what the person is, the true inner self. I mean, I should say the true self of the person. But, there might be some things they're trying to, get information about the person, and they might have trouble trying to do so. Another thing, about this, as well, when you have, this aspect of, you're talking about, the sun, again, it's about our focus, our attention. And, when you have, the sun, making a square opposition to the other person's Mercury, again, it could be very hard to focus and give attention on, the Mercury person, whether it's, if they're communicating, if it's something in writing, whether it's, again, Mercury is connected, with short journeys, it can be very difficult for that person to do it. And the sun is also about our vitality as well, plays a role in our vitality and energy. And this could be somebody, the sun person may not, have, that energy to be there, listen to what, the Mercury person is actually saying. Maybe the Mercury person may have an adverse effect, on that sun person's vitality, whether it's through the communications, excessive communication, or whether the Mercury person is getting, is getting help with short journeys from the sun person. So those are some ways that the synastry aspect can manifest and pan out. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.